Maya adjusted the collar of her neon jacket, feeling slightly ridiculous but also unreasonably cool as she strutted through the bustling market of Neo City. The air was thick with the scent of fried synth meat and the faint tang of ozone. Above her, drones buzzed like giant metallic flies, delivering everything from hot meals to live pets. "You can't spell dystopia without hop," she muttered under her breath, earning an amused glance from a nearby vendor. In this world of high-tech convenience, Maya was just another cog in the machine. She'd grown adept at turning every mundane interaction into a comedic routine, a defense mechanism against the relentless efficiency that surrounded her. "Excuse me, can I get a discount on that?" she asked the vendor with an exaggerated grin, pointing to a gleaming cybernetic arm displayed like a prize trophy. The vendor raised an eyebrow, smirking. "Only if you can outsmart my AI assistant." "Challenge accepted," she laughed, stepping forward. The vendor pressed a button, and a small robot emerged from behind the counter, its metallic surface glinting in the neon lights. It tilted its head, processing her presence with a series of beeps. "Greetings, human. State your name and purpose," it chirped, its voice a mixture of robotic monotone and oddly cheerful chirps. "Maya. Here to barter and not be turned into a fancy paperweight," she shot back, her heart racing with excitement and a tinge of dread. The vendor smirked, clearly entertained. The AI blinked, then began spitting out a series of algorithmically generated jokes, each worse than the last. Why did the robot cross the road? To optimize its route. As the crowd around them chuckled, Maya felt the urge to groan, but then she realized something: the AI had a malfunction. Instead of laughing, it started malfunctioning, its circuit sparking as it accidentally began directing nearby delivery drones to chase her down, treating her like a rare collectible instead of a mere customer. "Oh," Maya muttered, glancing over her shoulder. A small swarm of drones had shifted their deliveries into a raucous aerial pursuit, whirring and zipping around her as she dashed through the throngs of shoppers. This wasn't in the brochure for enjoying market day. Just as she turned down a narrow alley, she heard a voice behind her. "Maya. Is that you?" It was Leo, her younger brother, who had always been her partner in crime. He emerged from a corner, his face a mix of concern and amusement. "Not now, Leo. I'm being hunted by discount drones," she yelled, veering left. "You wouldn't believe the day I'm having." "Actually, I might," he said, catching up. "Didn't I tell you not to push the boundaries of humor with AI? Look who's talking, mister. I'll take the trial upgrade to become a better version of myself," she shot back, rolling her eyes. "We need to get out of here before I end up as a drone's new accessory." As they sprinted, the drones zoomed after them, their sensors going haywire as they collided with each other, sending sparks flying. The scene quickly turned into a bizarre dance of chaos, with Maya and Leo weaving through narrow paths, dodging robots that were only moments ago delivering the latest in tech. Finally, they burst into an open space, panting. "Okay, that was too close," Maya gasped, her heart still racing. But the levity faded quickly when she caught sight of a flickering news screen. The headline read, "Human Trials, Upgrades for a Better Tomorrow." A chill ran down her spine. The segment featured images of people undergoing robotic enhancements. "Leo, look." She pointed. "They're turning people into hunters." "What?" he exclaimed, his eyes widening. "That can't be right. They're saying it's for enhancing security." Maya gulped, her mind racing. What if they're taking volunteers? What if anyone we know gets turned into a hunting machine? Before Leo could respond, a group of tech enthusiasts strolled by, their conversation catching Maya's ear. "Have you seen the latest upgrade? It's wild. They're literally turning people into hunters now," one of them gushed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Maya's stomach dropped. "I have to find out more," she whispered. "I can't let this happen." "Are you sure you want to get involved in something this dangerous?" Leo asked, concern lacing his voice. "What if you..." "Don't you dare finish that sentence," she interrupted, a mix of determination and fear flooding her. "I can't just sit back and let this happen. I need to infiltrate that lab." And so, with a mix of fear and courage, Maya resolved to dive headfirst into the darkness of Neo City's underbelly. The next day, clad in an overly large hoodie and a pair of retro sunglasses, Maya slipped into the black market tech district. The streets were alive with the whir of machines and the hum of countless voices. She felt like a stranger in her own world, her heart pounding in anticipation and anxiety, navigating through the maze of shops filled with questionable modifications and odd gadgets. Maya finally located the entrance to the lab, camouflaged beneath a flickering neon sign that read, "Tomorrow's upgrades, today." It looked less like a professional facility and more like a pop-up carnival where ethics had taken a back seat to ambition. As she approached, a bouncer, a hulking figure made entirely of gleaming chrome, blocked the entrance. "Identification," he grunted. "I'm just here for the latest enhancement," she stammered, mentally kicking herself for her lack of preparation. "You know, the one that makes you feel like you can outrun a drone?" The bouncer squinted, sizing her up. "Right. You'll need to pass the initiation test." Maya swallowed hard. "Initiation test? What's that?" "Simple," he said, his face deadpan. "Dance off. We need to see your rhythm before we let you in." "Are you serious?" she exclaimed, a mixture of disbelief and relief flooding her. "This is how you vet potential upgrades? By dance moves?" "Yup," he nodded, crossing his arms. Maya felt the heat rise to her cheeks but then remembered the chaos she'd just escaped. "Fine. Let's do this." With the crowd around them forming a circle, Maya launched into an improvised routine. It was a mashup of everything she could think of, from robotic moves to breakdancing, all the while cracking jokes to keep the atmosphere light. She pretended to battle invisible foes, even throwing in some exaggerated spins. The bouncer looked mildly impressed. By the time she finished, the crowd erupted into laughter and applause, including the bouncer, who grinned. "All right, you've got the spirit. You're in." Maya slipped through the entrance, heart racing. The interior was like stepping into a sci-fi movie, all gleaming metal and whirring machines. Holograms flickered overhead, showcasing various enhancements and products. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and danger, the air thick with the smell of burnt circuits. "Welcome to the future," a voice boomed, pulling her attention to a stage where Dr. Voss, the mastermind behind the upgrades, gestured dramatically. With wild hair and a lab coat that seemed too big for him, he looked like a mad scientist straight out of a comic book. "Are you ready to embrace your true potential?" he called out, addressing the audience with fervor. "To become more than human? To be reborn as a machine of precision and power?" Maya cringed at the fervent enthusiasm that filled the room. But she had to keep her cover intact. She couldn't let this go on. As she blended into the crowd, her eyes scanned for any sign of Leo. Would he be here, too? Was he one of the upgrades? A cold shiver ran down her spine at the thought. Suddenly, she spotted a small group in a back corner, and her heart sank. It was a line of people waiting to undergo the transformation. Among them, she recognized a familiar face. Leo, she called out, rushing towards him. Maya, he blinked, his expression a mix of surprise and confusion. What are you doing here? I came to rescue you, not to join the upgrade brigade, she exclaimed, grabbing his arm. You can't do this. It's not what you think, he protested, looking genuinely perplexed. I thought I could help. They say they're making us stronger, smarter. But at what cost? She shot back, panic tightening her chest. Look around you. They're turning people into machines. You don't want to be part of that. Before Leo could respond, Dr. Voss's voice boomed again. Ladies and gentlemen, behold the dawn of a new age. The human hunt begins today. Maya's heart raced as she turned to see screens flicker to life, showing images of transformed hunters, sleek, deadly, and devoid of human emotion. No, she gasped. We need to get out of here. Leo hesitated, torn. But, now, she insisted, pulling him away from the line, heart pounding. As they made their way through the crowd, they stumbled upon a back door. With a quick push, they slipped into a dimly lit corridor. What's happening, Maya? Leo asked, his voice low, almost pleading. They're turning people into hunters. We have to stop this, Leo, she replied, determination blazing in her eyes. We can't let this happen to you or anyone else. Not now, not ever. I didn't know it was this serious, he said, looking down the corridor. What do we do? Maya took a deep breath, scanning for a way out. We need to find a way to reverse this. I overheard them saying something about a shutdown protocol. If we can get to the main control room, we might be able to stop it. Okay, he nodded, his resolve strengthening. Let's do this. Together, they crept through the maze of hallways, the sounds of machinery humming ominously around them. The atmosphere was thick with tension, but Maya couldn't shake the humor that clung to her even in the direst of situations. Imagine if we made a sitcom out of this, she quipped. Two siblings fighting rogue robots with only our quick wit and questionable dance moves. Leo chuckled nervously, but the laughter was short-lived. They reached a massive door marked, Control Room. This is it, Maya whispered. Let's go. With a deep breath, she pushed the door open, revealing a room filled with screens and blinking lights. It was both mesmerizing and terrifying. Wow, Leo breathed, stepping inside. This is incredible. Focus. Maya snapped, scanning the room. We need to find that protocol. As they searched frantically, the tension in the air thickened, and Maya's thoughts raced. What if we don't make it? She wondered. What if this is it? Leo glanced at her, concern etched on his face. We will. We have to. For everyone. Right. For everyone, she echoed, feeling the weight of the moment settle over her. As they continued their search, an alarm suddenly blared, red lights flashing overhead. Maya! Leo shouted. We've been detected. Quick! We need to find the shutdown protocol, now. The adrenaline surged through her veins as they raced to the control panel, typing frantically, the screens lighting up with information. There. Right there. Leo pointed at a blinking icon labeled, Shutdown Protocol. Here goes nothing, Maya muttered, slamming her finger down on the screen. Just as the confirmation window appeared, the door burst open, and a group of hunters, humans transformed into sleek robotic machines, charged in, their eyes glowing menacingly. Too late, one of them growled, the voice a chilling mix of human and machine. Maya's heart sank, but she forced herself to stay calm. Leo, we have to, the hunters lunged, and with no time to think, Maya grabbed the nearest object, a metallic wrench, and swung it wildly, hitting one of the hunters squarely in the face. Sparks flew, and the machine stumbled back. "Run!" Leo yelled, pushing her toward the door. They darted out just as the alarm continued to blare, a cacophony of chaos behind them. As they dashed through the labyrinthine hallways, Maya felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, but she also felt the flicker of hope igniting within her. They had come too far to give up now. Maya and Leo raced through the dimly lit corridors, their hearts pounding like drums in a marching band. Behind them, the metallic thuds of the robotic hunters echoed ominously, punctuated by the occasional zap of malfunctioning equipment. "Where do we go now?" Leo panted, glancing over his shoulder as they turned a corner. "Anywhere but here," Maya shouted, her mind racing. The walls were lined with flickering screens displaying chaotic footage of the lab and its twisted experiments. She spotted a door labeled "Exit," but it was secured with a massive biometric lock. "Great! Just what we need," she muttered, pounding her fist against the door in frustration. "Why can't anything be easy? Can't you hack it or something?" Leo suggested, looking back at the approaching hunters. "Sure. If I had a degree in hacking the future," she shot back, but then her eyes lit up with an idea. "Wait! I saw a maintenance panel back there." They sprinted down the corridor, Maya's brain whirring with possibilities. They reached the panel just as the alarms reached a deafening pitch. With shaking hands, she pried it open, revealing a tangle of wires and circuits. "Do you think you can short it out?" Leo asked, glancing nervously at the distant sounds of robotic footsteps growing closer. "Here goes nothing," Maya replied, reaching inside and pulling a couple of wires. The moment she did, the alarms sputtered and died, the lights flickering before plunging them into relative darkness. "Okay, now we just have to find a way to open that door." "Brilliant. Now we're sneaking through the shadows like spies in a B-movie." Leo grinned, trying to lighten the mood. "More like fleeing from angry vending machines," Maya shot back, but she couldn't suppress a smile. It felt good to have him by her side, even in the midst of chaos. They approached the exit door again, the biometric lock now glowing ominously. Maya glanced at the wires, then back at the door. "If I can just bypass this lock." With a quick breath, she plunged her fingers into the wiring again, frantically switching connections until the lock flickered uncertainly. The door beeped angrily, but she didn't stop. "Come on, come on." Finally, with a final twist of wire and a desperate prayer, the lock clicked open. "Yes," she yelled, throwing the door wide and tumbling into the alley outside. They emerged into the bright light of day, but the victory was short-lived. The street was filled with chaos, people running, cars overturned, and drones hovering ominously overhead. Maya's heart sank. "This is worse than I thought. Where do we go?" Leo asked, scanning the pandemonium. "Somewhere we can regroup and figure this out," Maya replied, spotting a narrow alley that led away from the main street. "Over there." They darted into the alley, ducking behind a dumpster as a swarm of drones passed overhead. Maya could hear their mechanical whirs, the sound sending a shiver down her spine. "What now?" Leo whispered, looking around nervously. Maya thought quickly. "We need to find a way to reverse the transformation process. If we can get to the central control unit of the lab, maybe we can shut down the hunters for good. But we can't just walk back in there." "Then we need to gather some intel," Leo suggested. "Find someone who knows how the system works." Maya nodded, her mind racing. I remember hearing someone mention a former employee who got fired for protesting the experiments. If we can find them, let's go. Leo urged, and they slipped out of the alley and back into the fray. As they navigated the chaotic streets, they overheard snippets of conversations. Panic-stricken people were discussing the attacks. The robotic hunters are now patrolling the area. There. That's it. Maya exclaimed, spotting a small cafe that seemed relatively calm amid the chaos. We might find someone in there. They slipped inside, the cool air a relief from the chaos outside. The cafe was dimly lit, with a few scattered patrons nervously sipping their drinks. Maya spotted a woman in the corner, her hair wild and unkempt, scribbling notes on a tablet. That's got to be her, Maya whispered, pointing. Let's approach carefully. They made their way to the woman's table, and Maya cleared her throat. Excuse me, but are you Dr. Rivera? The woman looked up, startled. Who wants to know? I'm Maya, and this is Leo. We need your help, Maya said, urgency creeping into her voice. We heard you might know how to stop the hunters. They're turning people into machines. Dr. Rivera's eyes narrowed, assessing them. You shouldn't be here. It's not safe. We know. But we can't just sit back and let them do this. We're trying to save our brother. He's been transformed, Leo added, his voice trembling. Dr. Rivera's expression shifted from skepticism to concern. I see. You're brave, but foolish. If you want to help him, you need to understand how deep this goes. Please, just tell us what we need to do, Maya urged, leaning closer. Dr. Rivera sighed, glancing around to ensure they weren't overheard. All right. The main control unit is heavily guarded, but if you can get into the server room, there's a chance you can upload a virus that will shut down the hunters. How do we get there? Maya asked, a glimmer of hope sparking in her chest. The server room is on the upper floor of the lab. You'll have to navigate through security checkpoints, but I can provide you with a map. Dr. Rivera pulled out a piece of paper and scribbled quickly, handing it to Maya. This should help. Just remember, they'll be expecting intruders. Thank you. Leo said, relief flooding his voice. Dr. Rivera hesitated, then added, if you can get to the control unit, it might give you time to reverse the transformations. But be careful. They're ruthless, and they won't hesitate to eliminate threats. We'll be careful, Maya promised, folding the map and tucking it into her pocket. We have to save Leo and everyone else. They stood up, ready to leave, when suddenly the door burst open. A group of robotic hunters stormed in, their glowing eyes scanning the cafe with chilling precision. Get down! Maya shouted, pulling Leo behind a table as the hunters began to advance. The patrons screamed, diving for cover as the machines assessed the situation. Maya's heart raced as she ducked low, desperately thinking of their next move. Leo, we need to create a distraction, she whispered. I have an idea, he said, eyeing a stack of empty glasses on the counter. With a swift motion, he hurled a glass at the nearest wall. The sound shattered the tense silence, drawing the hunters' attention. Over there, one of them shouted, moving toward the noise, now's our chance. Maya hissed, and they bolted for the exit. As they dashed outside, Maya felt the thrill of freedom mixed with dread. They had to get back to the lab, and fast. With the map in hand, they navigated through the streets, the world outside feeling like a wild maze of danger. Are we really doing this? Leo asked, glancing at her with a mix of fear and excitement. Absolutely. We're not letting anyone become a hunter, especially not you, Maya replied, her determination shining through the chaos. They reached the lab's entrance, the flickering lights casting an eerie glow over the building. With the map leading them, they entered through a side door, slipping past security with bated breath. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Maya's pulse raced as they followed the map, winding through corridors filled with ominous machinery. They reached a small door marked server room and paused. This is it, Maya whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. Let's go. She pushed the door open, revealing a dark room filled with towering servers humming with energy. The walls were lined with screens displaying various experiments and data feeds. Now what? Leo asked, looking around nervously. Find the main terminal and upload the virus, Maya instructed, scanning the room for the right machine. They quickly located the central terminal, a sleek interface pulsating with lights. Maya's fingers danced over the keys as she accessed the system, the screens flickering to life with data. I need the virus code, she muttered, heart racing as she remembered the tech Dr. Rivera had mentioned. Do you have it? Leo asked, glancing back nervously. I think so, here it is, she exclaimed, downloading the virus. Just as she pressed the upload button, the alarms blared once more. They found us. Leo shouted, panic setting in. Maya, hurry. She frantically watched the upload progress, her heart pounding. Come on, come on. The door burst open, and a squad of robotic hunters stormed in, their eyes glowing with menace. Stop right there, one commanded, raising an arm that transformed into a lethal weapon almost there. Maya yelled, sweat beading on her forehead as she concentrated on the upload. Get down. Leo shouted, lunging toward her, shielding her just as a barrage of lasers erupted toward them. The room exploded with light and sound as chaos ensued. Maya's breath hitched as she finished the upload just as the system began to reboot. The hunters hesitated, their programming conflicted by the sudden shutdown. Leo, we did it, she shouted, exhilaration flooding her as the lights flickered around them. The hunters began to short-circuit, their glowing eyes dimming one by one. The room was filled with the sound of mechanical whirs and pained beeps, and then, silence. Are they? Leo asked, blinking in disbelief. Shut down, Maya breathed, a wave of relief washing over her. We actually did it. But we need to get out of here before they reboot, Leo urged, glancing back at the door. Right. Let's move. They bolted from the server room, adrenaline pushing them forward as they navigated the dark corridors. They made their way back to the main exit, heartbeats echoing in their ears. As they reached the front door, Maya hesitated, glancing back at the lab. We need to ensure this doesn't happen again. You're right. But how? Leo asked. Maya thought for a moment, determination lighting her eyes. We expose what they were doing. We gather evidence and find a way to stop them for good. Let's do it, Leo said, his voice steady with conviction. They pushed through the doors and stepped out into the daylight, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished settle on their shoulders. The chaos outside had lessened, but the world was still in turmoil. Together, they would fight against the tide of transformation, armed with the knowledge of the horrors that lurked in the shadows. Are you ready for what's next? Maya asked, glancing at her brother. Always, Leo replied, a fierce light in his eyes. As they stepped forward into an uncertain future, Maya felt a surge of hope. Together, they could face whatever came next, for themselves, for the people still lost in the hunt, and for a world that deserved better. And they would do it with the unbreakable bond of family, humor, and an unwavering spirit of defiance, the story was far from over.